I'm trying something new this time, a direct connection, but it's still acting like my connection is not stable, which makes no sense at all. That's frustrating. Hi, Glenn. How are you doing? Oh. I hope you're doing well. I'm kind of tired, actually. I don't know. This feels like it's been a long past couple weeks. It's like I feel like I need somebody else here to physically talk with me, but both of my kids are doing something else. So, and the Arnold talk has been postponed. So at some point we'll get around to that. I don't know when. Has anybody seen anything interesting lately? You got back from a good skate park? Oh, with your RC car. Yeah, that's right. You were saying um in that, hi Steven, hi Crystal Pepsi. I remember, Glenn, you saying when we did the watch party for Terminator 2 that you had an RC car. I am still editing that video because tech issues. So you remember when it kept getting off? Like the audio and the video would get out of sync, and I kept stopping and trying to go back and fixing it. And I thought that it was an issue because of StreamYard or the internet or whatever. Well, I found out later that what it really was the doggone my source file was off. So then I had to find another file with where the audio and video were in sync, and I had put that on top of what I'm editing. So now I have all these different things I have to line. Oh, it's just driving me crazy. I got through so much editing before I finally figured out what the real problem was. And so now I'm having to do triple the amount of work. I made it hard on myself. That was ridiculous. But anyway, hi from the Netherlands, or hi Netherlands, or Gregory. Last I heard from you, you had COVID. Oh, that was a long time ago. That was a long time ago, Melody. We rang in the new year with COVID. That was fun. But to be honest, I also made a video about our experiences, and it wasn't horrendously awful. I mean, nobody likes being sick. It was no fun, but I kind of describe it as a cross between a really bad cold and a mild flu. That's what it was like for us. We all recovered okay. We're all doing well. My husband had a fever that just kind of hung on for a while, but it wasn't a bad fever. Like it was like, would hover between 99.5 and 100.5. It just kind of go up and down like that. And so obviously, I mean, he felt okay, but he couldn't go out and do anything because, he's carrying COVID. So anyway, that's how it went for us. I will try to remember to put a link. Actually, I could go looking for it, and I could go looking for a link to the video that I did afterwards when I was, when we were all done, we were all past the hurdle and everything. You had a weird Simon. Okay, sorry. I really should be popping these up on the. I'm sorry. I'm a little brain tired, but Simon, you funny guy. Gee, I wonder why he was chasing you. Oh my goodness, it's pretty late for you over there, isn't it? I'm going to go see Army of the Dead tomorrow. So I'm looking forward to that. And also later this week, I'm going to see the Conjuring movie because I think it opens up this Friday. So I'm going to go see that. And then the week after that, which is next Friday, I think it's going to be a Friday or a Thursday. one of those days, 11th or 12th, I can't remember now. But they're having a sort of an advance premiere or screening of The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard. They're releasing it in some Cinemark theaters about a week ahead of time, so I'm going to go see that. All of that is because I want to do reviews for the movies for the channel. So YouTube, that's really weird, Melody. Yeah, it does that weird. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I don't know why YouTube does that. Honestly, I can never explain why YouTube does what it does. Um, Sometimes some videos don't do as well as others, and so YouTube kind of decides, well, we're not going to recommend her stuff as much. It's weird. But anyway, yeah, it's really late for you, Simon. I hope you're not dealing with too much insomnia right now. I'm going to go look up that video, Melody, and I'll post it for you. I just have to go to my YouTube channel, so sorry if I'm not seeing your comments um, while I do this. But I'm looking forward to those movies. The last movie I saw, well, as far as at the theater, the last movie I saw was Quiet Place 2. Yeah. And I did a review for that. I enjoyed it. It was good. I just, like I said in my review, I wasn't extremely wowed by it. Oh, thank you, Maxie. You too. Here you go, Melody. Here you go. My ethnic background, I am a literal melting pot. I actually recently did a DNA thing because I was just curious, and it's I think the main one. Dang it, I don't have it in front of me, but I think the main one was like the UK, which I knew already because my maiden name, that family came originally from the UK. And also, I think maybe my second one is Italian, and then maybe the third is French. And then I've got I found out that I do have some Latin American mixed in there, but it's like just 1%. Some Asian, like 1%. So I'm just kind of like a melting pot, like a bunch of people are, that's just, I think that's pretty common. Let me see. What are your thoughts on exposing? Well, honestly, I feel like now more than ever, people are sort of catching on to the fact that just the news in general, and it doesn't matter honestly which side, but the news in general operates on creating a lot of anger and hysteria, paranoia, friction, because I mean it's 24-hour news, right? So they have to generate something to keep people watching. So it's really frustrating too, because most people, they don't have the time to actually try to find out what's really going on. So a lot of people get kind of just led by the headlines, which aren't always accurate. So that's aggravating. Okay, sorry. I'm going to try to remember to keep popping these questions up. How do I know Spanish? Well, I took a year of Spanish in college. I barely managed to escape high school without having to take a foreign language. I was not interested in taking a foreign language at the time. I remember one of my English teachers saying to me, "It will broaden your horizons." And I remember saying, "I don't want my horizons broadened." Oh my gosh. So ridiculous. But so then when I got to college, I was forced to. And then around that time, I met who ended up being my husband, this guy, and he's Mexican. And so being around him has sort of helped me kind of absorb a lot more. And I'm not fluent in it. I don't consider myself fluent in it, but I guess maybe some people would, because I can get by. I can talk about important things, basic stuff. I can get my message across. I'm not always going to be grammatically correct, but I like to do those song translations for some Spanish songs that I enjoy. I was actually thinking about doing a translation for the song by La Ley called El Duelo. I really like that song. That's a cool song. But I haven't, I just haven't incorporated it into my schedule yet. So, from the Canadian Melting Pot. How is it up there in Canada? How's the weather? It's a little cool here right now. You watch Cruella? It was yeah. See, that's available on digital, right? I have this much interest, like zero interest in watching Cruella. I don't know why. I've never really been drawn into the Dalmatians, 101 Dalmatians. I mean, I've seen the movies, I've seen the cartoon, I've seen the live action version of it, but it's just not ever been anything that's just really, oh, I gotta see that. So I probably won't watch Cruella. I'm really looking forward to Army of the Dead, though. I hope that's good. You live in Arizona. Oh, well, I imagine it would be. I spent one night in Arizona many years ago when we were traveling cross country. We drove cross country to my brother's wedding. And our last night before we got into California was in Kingman, Arizona, right there close to the border. And the air there was absolutely amazing. It was light on my lungs because I'm asthmatic, so I can really feel the humidity in the air, like feels like it's just pressing down. It's one of the reasons why I have trouble with the mask wearing. I wear it, but if I'm in a situation where I don't have to, then I don't, because I feel like I'm smothering to death. But I love the air in Arizona. Amazing. Light air. And you know what's weird? In California, it doesn't feel that way. Well, at least where my brother and his family live. It feels very similar to me no, not completely similar. It's kind of between Arizona and here, which is really, I live in, the southern region, and the air here is just ridiculously humid. It's crazy. It's very hot. Fake news, the main thing you need to remember when. Yes, that's true. Unfortunately, right? They try to pretend that they do, but they don't. It runs on, yes, exactly. Ratings, I think I mentioned on one of my other live streams or one of my other videos about how that the news doesn't report on houses that aren't burning. So they're always trying to, I mean, who cares about a good news story? People are drawn to the sensational and it just annoys me. And I just don't consume much news anymore, as far as like, the standard, like the network news or news websites. I subscribe to the 1440 newsletter, and there was another one that Colin mentioned. Dang it. I even bookmarked that site, but now I can't remember it. But that looked pretty solid as far as, non-biased information, which is what I would prefer. It's getting warm. You like Halloweeny weather? I like mild weather. I'm not a huge fan of cold. I get a little bit like down in the dumps when it's super cold. To see some people still go to you stick to live shows after Star Wars. Yes, I was very happy to go back to the theater when it opened in our area. It opened here back in October. And that's when my son was called back to work because he works in a theater. And so in the beginning, I didn't go as much as I'm going now because at the time they didn't really have anything new. They were bringing back a lot of, I think they were calling it comeback classics or something like that. They were bringing these classic shows and TV or, movies and stuff back to the theater. And what they were offering, I wasn't really interested in. Now, if they had offered Terminator or Terminator 2 or, Commando or something like that, I would have gone in a heartbeat, but they weren't. They were just offering, I don't know, like Pretty Woman and Pretty in Pink. And I didn't have any interest in that. So I didn't go to any of those things. I think the first movie I went to go see when the theaters reopened was Freaky, which was pretty fun, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. And certainly to me, it wasn't as good as Happy Death Day. And Freaky was made by the same people that worked on Happy Death Day. What do I think of Ricky Gervais? I actually really love Ricky Gervais. I love that he's got the guts to say things that most people would never really want to say out loud, especially people in his industry. Now, some people, they don't like that he does that. They think he's a complete asshole, but I think it's pretty cool. And I think the very first time that I paid attention to him as an actor. So I think I was a little bit aware that he had been in the Night at the Museum movie, or one or both of them. And then I saw Ghost Town. I think that's what it's called, right? Ghost Town, where he plays this dentist who went in for colonoscopy and he didn't know it, but he had died on the table. And then they brought him back. But then after that, he could see ghosts. That was a really good movie. And he showed that he was really good at comedy, but also quite good too at playing dramatic roles. And I have been interested to check out his show Afterlife on Netflix. I just haven't gotten around to it because I've toyed with the idea of watching those episodes for the channel, but I don't know. I don't know if I'll watch them, or I'll just, for the channel, like for reactions, or if I'll just watch them and then do reviews of them. Would you ever like to see a remake of Gremlins? Were they going to be remaking that, or were they going to come back for a sequel? I can't remember the story on that now. I don't know. I guess it depends. A lot of remakes, to be honest, I can't think of one off the top of my head right now. Maybe there is one, but to me, a lot of remakes they're just not as good as the original. So I don't know. I would probably be interested to see it just because I would be interested to see that kind of film, but I wonder if they could do as good of a job. You know what? The films from the 80s just had a completely different type of vibe to them. I guess it was the way they filmed things, and I'm not really up into the tech stuff. I don't really understand it very well, but there was just something really comfortable and homey about the way films were made back then that I think I like a little bit more than a lot of the films they make today. I don't know. So I'm not sure that they could recapture that same feel. Oh, I'm trying to catch up to the comments. Yes, the 80s, exactly. I've missed the 80s style filmmaking. I really do. I mean, I know we've got a lot of the stuff we've got going on now is so much better technically, with the ability to add, digital VFX and background stuff that makes it look really real. But at the same time, it feels like there's just something special missing. I don't know. And I've been rewatching an Arnold movie because in preparation for the Arnold live stream that I was going to do today, I had rewatched Pumping Iron. I hadn't watched that in forever. And then I rewatched Collateral Damage. And I'm in the midst of rewatching Sabotage. And something that I noticed about just the way like Collateral Damage and Sabotage, yeah, they're spaced apart by several years, but the way the filmmaking is done is so different from some of his movies from the 80s. And that's when I started to think about, just you really can feel the difference between modern day filmmaking and filmmaking from back in the 80s, which I feel was just superior, in my opinion. The whole AMC stock squeezes, there's some magic in watching. Yes, there is. I don't want that to be the new normal, and I refuse to accept that it will be, because some movies are so much better on the big screen. Like, just, it really deserves that big screen experience. Avengers Endgame cannot be appreciated as much, in my opinion, on the small screen as on the big screen. And films like Wonder Woman 1984, I went to go see that on the big screen, and I actually really enjoyed that movie. I know there's a lot of controversy and hate over it, but I really enjoyed it a lot. And I think a lot of that is because I saw it on the big screen. I know some people went to see it on the big screen, they still didn't like it, but I think it was because I saw it on the big screen and I went into it with no expectation and no knowledge at all, or not much knowledge at all, as far as what it was about or anything like that. But yeah, it was just because some of the cinematography in there was just really cool on the big screen, like the flying through the clouds. I don't know. Some people thought that was hokey, but I liked it. Kingman's not a good place to live, really. Yeah, we were just there one night. Barat went there and did oh, yeah. You know what? That's been recommended to me. Building a mosque in Kingman. It is in my to watch list. I just haven't gotten around to it. Town was pissed at the meeting when he told them. Yeah, I haven't gotten around to watching that yet. Sometimes those sort of those skits or those scenarios that they do, they set up this whole thing where it's just this big elaborate lie just to kind of to piss people off. I feel a little uncomfortable with some of those. Some of them are really, really funny, but then some of them are like, oh, I don't know. Just, I guess it depends on the situation. Oh, really? See, now my perception has been tainted already, Simon. I have heard that some people were kind of about it. Some people really loved it. I've seen the ratings. I have gone and looked at the ratings, or not. I haven't read reviews, but I've seen, you know, the numbers, and it looks to me as of the last time I saw, it seemed to me that the numbers were pretty equal. Like the audience seemed to like it as well. I think Colin also. I can't remember if he said something about having seen it, or he was curious if I was going to see it. I can't remember. But I guess we'll find out. Arturo and I are going to see it tomorrow. We may do a collab review of it, or we may just do our own separate reviews. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, hi, all the way from the UK. My goodness. Yeah. Ricky is ace. I get that. I guess that means he's like, he's really cool. I'm assuming. What are your thoughts on Terminator? Okay. It's so funny you would say that, because I'm also listening to Arnold Schwarzenegger's biography in preparation for this live stream. My thoughts on Terminator movies after Judgment Day. I've kind of mentioned this in other videos, but I've got so many videos up. It's you probably wouldn't have seen it, but I think my favorite sequel is probably Salvation, and it wasn't my favorite in the beginning. I feel kind of on Terminator 3. I mean, it's okay, but it just feels like it was a formula that they just tried to repeat again, and except they just made the new badass Terminator a woman, and they made it to where, well, Judgment Day was supposed to happen, which, I mean, I guess that's fine, but it just kind of felt a little formulaic, honestly. And Terminator Genesis, I'm not super crazy about it, but I did kind of like the alternative take they had on the timeline being completely shifted, where the Terminator had gone back to protect Sarah Connor as a child. I thought that was interesting. And then after that, okay, so out of all the sequels, I think Dark Fate I absolutely despise. I was so disappointed by that movie. And when I watched it, I came home and I think I did a review of it that night. And I was a little bit kinder in my comments about it than I feel now. Like, more distance has made my disappointment grow into anger. I feel like that was such a wasted opportunity. It was just basically a rehashing again of the same old plot, except they changed the name of the computer system. John Connor got turned into a Latina girl, and they're crossing the border and doing all this stuff. And then they basically took a dump all over the fans in the first few minutes. I had been so excited because they were talking about how Eddie Furlong was coming back. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be really cool because there's going to be something going on in his adult life. And that was a complete lie. James Cameron's a big fat liar. I was so annoyed. I was so aggravated. I remember walking out of the theater, and one of the managers there had told me that they liked it and that they thought it was, you know, or I can't remember his exact wording, but like it was, you know, better than he thought it would be, or better than he thought it, whatever. I can't remember. But when I came out of it, it was just, I instinctively knew. And he saw me at concessions, and I'm walking past, and he's like looking at me to kind of gauge how I liked it. And I was like, no, I hated it. Nope. Anyway, so those are my thoughts. But Judgment Day, as far as I'm concerned, is the absolute best. I love that movie. Everybody knows I love that movie by now. Hi, Colin. How are you doing? I've talked about you a couple times, just bringing up some stuff about some of the things we've talked about, and I'm still editing that Terminator 2 watch party. I don't know if you saw me mention that or not. This is the first time I saw your comment, but I don't know if you saw me mention that. There's tech stuff going on. I found out that the file we were watching was already out of sync. So that was one of the reasons we had all the issues we did. Was frustrating. Probably thinking of the Goonies when it comes to remakes. Luckily, it never happened. Is this a comment to me or to whoever was talking about the remake of Gremlins? Okay. Yeah. You know what? Goonies is fun, but it's actually, it's not my favorite 80s movie. I don't know. Just in general, I don't think I'm super thrilled with remakes. They just very rarely go well. I remember Rocky IV, and I remember because that was like at the height of the Cold War, or it was mid 80s, and I remember just the whole thing there with what happened with Apollo Creed, and I used to watch the music video that they had of that, and I was pretty into that movie just because I think of what it represented, the symbolism it represented with the U.S. and China and enemies and fighting in the ring and all that. But yeah, definitely very 80s. I think Rocky III was the one with Clubber Lang with Mr. T. I've only seen that one once. I've only seen Rocky II once. I think Rocky IV was the one I watched the most. Oh, this mug? This one here? Yeah, this is a nice big ass mug that I put my coffee in. I just drank coffee right before I started the stream because I was feeling a little tired. And I drank that, and I filmed a couple of reaction things. One was to Patrice O'Neill, and another one was to a trailer that's been requested. And that kind of woke me up a little bit for the live stream. But when I started off the live stream, I was just a little bit tired. But I feel like I'm waking up now. Like, oh my gosh, that would be funny, wouldn't it? Oh Lord. Oh my gosh, can you imagine? See, talk of Gremlins now, this come up at least twice now, but talk of Gremlins has put me in the mood to rewatch that film. It has been years since I've seen that movie. I need to rewatch that. Hi Jeff, glad you made it. Good to see you on here. Can you explain the timeline of your channel and timeline of your subscribers? You mean like when I started it and how the subscriber base grew? I assume that's what you mean. I started the channel in July of 2019, and I've explained before, but for anybody who hasn't heard, I work in the audiobook industry, so I'm plugged in to text-based and audio-based stuff all day long, and I love audiobooks, but working in the audiobook industry has kind of, or at the time it had sapped my love of audiobooks, because at the end of the day, I don't want to plug into an audiobook. I'm tired of audiobooks, but I still wanted to talk about movies and stories and things that were exciting to me, and, mostly entertainment related stuff. I mean, other stuff has come up, but entertainment related stuff. So I started doing a bunch of reactions to movie trailers, and then here and there, I've got some reviews sprinkled in. And so that continued for about a year. And I remember when I reached 100 subscribers, I did like a little Q&A type video thing. And then at the end of the year in 2019, I did my favorite films of the decade, and it was a long video. And then when I got to, when 2020 came around, and that year was absolute crap. And about midway through the year, around July, I started to watch stand-up comic videos. And the first one I watched was a video done by Zach Rushing. I had contacted him and asked for permission, and he said, go for it. So I did. And that got, that got a little bit more views than some of my other stuff had. And then in the meantime, I had seen some people reacting to Bill Burr, and I'd never heard of Bill Burr before. I had been exposed to him, but did not realize it at the time. He had been in The Mandalorian. I didn't even know who he was. So I saw people reacting to some of his stuff, and I'm like, this guy's hilarious. So then I found some other stuff of his to react to that I hadn't already seen through the reaction videos. And it was when I did the one called, the title of that video was called Vagina Privilege. That one was the one that kind of really got noticed. Like YouTube, I don't know how it happened, YouTube and their algorithm, but somehow that video just kind of really took off. And, and I had continued to do reactions to stand-up comedy and other comedic types of things. And the reason that I did that, I meant to get around to this. The reason that I did that is because last year was such a drag. And I'm not really into comedy as far as like comedy movies and things like that. But stand-up comedy is a little different. So I was like, I need to add a little bit more laughter to my life because this year sucks and I haven't laughed nearly enough. And so that was what kind of motivated me to start doing those types of reactions. And it's kind of branched out to other reactions. I react to music videos, I do song translations, I react to other types of things that aren't only comedic in nature. And I do reactions to TV shows and movies. I'm still watching Lethal Weapon. I'm several episodes in, I just don't have them edited. It's a pain to have to edit those because you have to cut out so much, obviously, for copyright. So it kind of slows you down a bit. That's why I'm a little slow getting. Plus, I still work. I mean, my job is basically a full-time job, so I have to try to fit it all in. And yeah, exactly. Like the practical effects for sure, and the real stunts. Yep, that's true. Prefers watching movies. All you're doing is all right, Simon. Oh my gosh. Oh geez. I farted on chair. That's so funny. It's true. But to me, I like the big, huge screen and I like the surround sound. And I don't know, there's just something really enjoyable about it. I mean, I watch movies at home all the time, but some films I just really want to see that big ass screen. I want to see all the action on the screen and I want to hear the loud explosions and the surround sound and everything. So but I know it's not for everybody. And I went many, many, many years before I regularly would watch or go to a theater to watch things. I just saw Tenet. Yeah, Tenet is a really, Nolan is a really good filmmaker, but I started Tenet with subtitles on and I was so lost. I made it 30 minutes in and I was like, I have no idea what the hell I'm watching. So I stopped watching it and I decided I would try to come back to it later. I understand that's a movie that probably takes several viewings to really get and appreciate it or to really get and appreciate it. So I'll return to it at some point, but it was kind of, I don't know. I'm disappointed in Nolan's Dunkirk film. And so then Tenet was the next one. And I don't know if I just kind of went into it already sort of leery about how it was going to be. But I was looking forward to it because I was curious to see Denzel's son in there. I did not realize the first time or two that I saw the trailer that was Denzel's son. No idea. So, yes, I do like Winona. Oh, look at the name of your draw rats. Speaking of rats, I am holding my ratties today. I do like Winona Ryder. She's grown on me. I've always been kind of about her. She's okay. I don't dislike her. I'm not super crazy about her. I really liked her in Stranger Things. I thought she did a great job in there. You should check out The Road Warrior just to marvel at the Yeah, I've never seen that. I have never seen The Road Warrior. I want to say I have it too. Maybe digitally. I think I do have it digitally on my Vudu. I do not know why I have never been drawn to that movie, except maybe if it's just because post-apocalyptic type films aren't genres that I gravitate to generally. Some of them, like zombie apocalypse type stuff, whatever. But Post-apocalyptic, I don't know. That doesn't pull me in. And I mean, I've seen ones that I enjoy, like I liked Book of Eli, but I think that's probably partly why I haven't watched it yet. I probably will at some point. You cannot stand Sacha Cohen. Most of his humor is preying on, yeah, the king of, yeah, that's, maybe that ties into my discomfort with watching those types of situations that he sets up. And honestly, I've only seen clips of his stuff. I've never watched all of his stuff, and I'm not super wowed by him. I know a lot of people really like his stuff, but he's just one of those people that I've never really been drawn to. There's some genres, there's some entertainers that I'm just not drawn to. And he's one of them. And I don't know if it's just him in general or just the style of stuff, that the type of things that he works on that just doesn't really interest me a whole lot. So I don't know. Yeah, I had mentioned to you, Colin, that I thought you had said something about Army of the Dead, but I couldn't remember if it was you were just asking me or if you had indicated that you weren't super thrilled with it. So, okay, I'm going to go into that tomorrow with the knowledge of what you guys said, and kind of, I guess we'll see. I don't know. I mean, I do generally like zombie movies, and they're Arturo's favorite genre, so I'm sure he'll like it a lot. Kind of like, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm just catching up to some of these here. Really? Dang it. Hey, hold on a second. Get back out from there. Little ratties. I put a towel over my legs when I hold them because I don't want them to chew on my pants. And she was going between the towel and my legs. So I had to dig her out from there. Well, that's, I guess we'll see. I don't know. Okay. Hi, Roblox. How you doing? How's it going? Back to work. Okay. See ya. Thanks for popping in. Terminator B. Yeah. Yeah, it was, I just thought that was, the entire premise was just not, get me started. I just thought it was ridiculous. And it had so much potential because Arnold and Linda were back together. And I don't know why. Can you imagine how kick-ass that could have been if James Cameron had actually... But you know what? I heard that it was James Cameron's idea to kill off John Connor in the beginning. What? That makes no sense at all. I'm not a thrilled. I'm not a fan of Terminator 7. Speaking of Roombas, I think we're going to try to invest in one of those to help our floors because the dogs leave so much fur. Yeah, it's unfortunate too, because it's a great franchise. I mean, it's my favorite series as far as, that thing, as far as that goes. But I don't know. Salvation, like I said, is probably, it's my favorite sequel. But because of the setting, it's post-apocalyptic, like I said, that's not my favorite environment to have a story. Oh God, it scared the crap out of me. It's not my favorite environment to have a story in. So initially I liked it, but I wasn't as much of a fan of it as I am now. One thing that really bothered me was stuff like at the end when the heart transplant happens. And I remember it wasn't until like in the middle of the night after I had seen it, I was thinking to myself, wait a second. How were they able to make that transplant successful? Do they have the anti-rejection drugs? They probably didn't have anti-rejection drugs. How would this even be possible? These are the things that went through my brain after I saw it. Whatever. you about the remake of the Grimm. Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. I'm sorry I'm a little late to these comments. I'll try to go a little quicker. Go. Yeah, I hear that. I hear that a lot. What's really crazy is that some companies, they don't seem to get the message, like what's happening with the comic book industry right now. They're just being hammered financially, and manga publications are absolutely just wiping the floor with the comic books, the U.S. comic books here, and they just don't seem to get it. I don't know what it's frustrating. Rocky 2 is arguably better than Rocky. Really, you think Rocky 2 is better? I think I've only seen Rocky 2 once. Honestly, it's been so long since I've seen any of those movies. I never even saw Creed. I haven't seen any of the Creed movies. Because I mean, I'm not super into the Rocky movies. I'm not super into Sylvester Stallone. It's crazy because I've watched some of his movies. I like Demolition Man. Probably Demolition Man and Copland are my favorite Sylvester Stallone movies. But that's probably why I wasn't drawn to Creed. Just not drawn to boxing type films. Even though Warrior was on my top 10 for a while. That's not really boxing. It's UFC type stuff, or, MMA type stuff. But it was about more than that. Of course, Rocky's about more than just the boxing, but still. Oh, all the way from the Navajo Nation. Hope you're doing well. Hollywood many times for CC. Yeah. I don't know. I think it's just, there are sci-fi books that do the same thing. I think it's just you can kind of, I guess some people can kind of just see where things are going. Like there have been many times that I have predicted things that haven't happened yet, but I can, just because I know the way people can be, and I know the way especially governments can be, years before it happened, I can see, oh, this is probably going to happen down the road, and this is why I don't support XYZ, whatever. And then it happens down the road. So I think it's just being able to predict the path of certain events just based on the way people are. But you would think we would learn, right? From some of the horror stories we've seen in movies about certain stuff, you'd think we would learn, but no. Wouldn't that be hilarious? Face mask. I think they would just shred the face mask. You really, I ain't getting into a Starbucks. Mr. T, he's not doing much of anything nowadays, I know, but I know that I'd heard that he had some type of cancer. I can't remember, was it lymphoma or something? But then I thought I heard he was doing well, but he's not around much anymore. You need to capture the original comedic value of the movies. Yeah, the thing about Gremlins is it was comedic, but it was a really dark comedy. It's almost like a horror story, the Gremlins movie, especially the first one. Yeah, because it was pretty violent for what it was, or for back in the day. But I thought it was a lot of fun. You want it to be comedic, but not ridiculous, over the top, hokey comedy. You want that dark comedy still sort of being the fundamental comedy of it. When you finally reacted to it, please watch that one. Keeps no. What do you mean? You accept that I will never react to him again if I watch the one-legged woman bit, or that I just never will in general? I will watch more of his stuff. I will. I've got so many things in my to-watch list. It's ridiculous. I think it's more than 700 or 800 now. And it's just a bunch of different stuff. It's not just comedy-related stuff. A lot of it is trailers and just other things. But that one has been recommended to me a lot, like a lot. And I did put it in my to-watch list early on, but I never got around to it because I understand what it's about. Isn't it about he has like this one-night stand with a one-legged woman or something like that? And and I'm already a little familiar with his style or his, his flavor of comedy. And so I was like, well, I don't know, is this going to be really ridiculous and raunchy or what? So I just had kind of stayed away from it just because of the source material. I'm not a huge fan of heavily raunchy, highly lewd and crude stuff. That's why I edit out so much of what the Hodge twins, say when I reacted. I don't edit out everything, but when they get really, really into what they're acting out, then I edit a lot of that out. But maybe I'll get around to it at some point. But I will definitely continue to watch Joey Diaz. I do like his stuff. The suicide rate goes up. I think you should be the writer, Simon. You need to go and offer your writing services. The reactors cut, like there's been a Lord. Also, YouTube has, yeah, I used to, yeah. Yeah, a lot of reactors, I guess. I mean, because when I started reacting, I hadn't seen a whole lot of reaction videos. I think before I started doing reaction videos last year, well, before I started doing reactions to like stand-up comedy and things like that, reactions beyond just trailer reactions. Before I started doing that, I think I want to say the only reactions I had really seen were things like compilation videos of reactions to the Red Wedding in Game of Thrones. And then I had been seeing some reactions to songs like around the same time that I started watching or started doing what I'm doing now. I had seen like music reactions. I had seen some reactions to Selena, which is really fun to see because I'm familiar with Selena. It's so cool to see people that aren't familiar with her react to her when they hear her voice for the first time. The looks on their faces, I like. It's fun to see how people react to stuff that you already enjoy, and I think that's the appeal of reaction videos for a lot of people. And I think I probably tend to chatter quite a bit more than other reactors do, but it's just because, just sitting here telling you what I think and how I feel about it. Yeah, probably so. I guess it depends on the comedy, but yeah, I don't know. I'm much more inclined to watch a stand-up comedy bit or routine or whatever than I am to go and watch a comedy movie. That's just, I don't know. I think it's not only the big screen, but the shared experience. Yeah. And it's fun to also be able to go with your family. We haven't had enough family in the area to do something like rent an entire theater, but our theater does that. That's kind of what helped them stay afloat during this time. Every movie uses CGI. Yeah, it's true. But people like Nolan probably use less of it than others. A lot of CGI stuff you wouldn't even think. Like, I didn't realize until I started watching behind the scenes stuff about how CGI a lot of times is just trees in the background in the distance. I just only equated CGI to fantastical type, fantasy sort of dragons and creatures and stuff like that. But yeah, CGI is, I mean, certainly when it's not overused, it's great. Okay, stop that. She's trying to crawl up my sleeve. Lupa, say hi. Poor little ratties. They're dealing with respiratory issues. They're stable. I've been giving them medicine for a while. You had no idea what, okay. Yes, I was disappointed in Dunkirk. I did not like the back and forth that he kept doing without any sort of indication that he was jumping back and forth to a different. I thought it was all supposed to be linear, and then he's doing this back and forth, and then I started noticing I'm seeing scenes that I thought I already saw before, and then it was probably about a third of the way through the film that I realized what was going on, and I wasn't as confused, but it was still, by then I was kind of frustrated. I was getting annoyed. And yes, that's Denzel's son, right? I had no idea. I thought it was pretty Ozzer is pretty cool. And the only thing I knew, someone had told me when I saw the trailer, the first trailer for Tenet, I think it was the first one I saw, they told me that he had been a football player. So I looked it up and saw what team he'd been on. I can't remember now what team it was, but yeah, I was like, oh, that's cool. He'd been, you know, a football player, and now he's into, and you know, some athletes have successfully made the transition to filmmaking. And then I think maybe it was the second trailer that I watched was when I found out that that was Denzel's son. I mean, his last name was not a clue at all, you guys. It honestly wasn't. But I thought it was pretty cool. And now when I hear him talk, I can hear Denzel. Yeah, the shared laughs matter. I have never been to a comedy club. The Hodge twins came to my area right before the world ended last year. And by the time I got around to buying a ticket for, I think it was like maybe a certain close seat and maybe backstage, by the time I got around to buying that, it was sold out, and even the other ones were sold out. So I didn't make it to see them. That would have been fun though. 2 boxes of popcorn because you know you're going to be through. I know, right before it even starts. I consumed a lot of popcorn. I don't eat popcorn anymore because of the way I adjusted my diet, but movie popcorn is absolutely the best. It's so good. I don't think any other popcorn can beat it. Nolan is going to end his days in a mental right, because he's always messing around with time. What is it with Nolan and time? He really does like to he really does. Oh, that's so relaxing. Sorry, Luca's licking my fingers, and that was like ASMR, so I don't want to move my hand. Oh, here, poor little thing. It's hard. She has a little trouble breathing, so she has to take a break every now and again when she's licking me to catch her breath. Poor thing. She's nowhere near as bad as she would have been if I hadn't been giving her antibiotics, though. But that's what happens with a lot of rats. Yeah, a lot of people did like it. I know the reviews for it are pretty dang solid. So, but I know that there are some people that just they're not as wowed by it, I guess, as they want it to be. Kind of like how I feel about A Quiet Place. I enjoyed A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place 2, but it didn't blow me away. Shaun of the Dead. Oh, that's such a good movie, Shaun of the Dead. I know you're asking Trash Party that, but that's a really fun movie. Melody on, but sometimes the uncomfortable makes me laugh so much. If it's not too mean spirited. Oh, yeah. See, that's maybe that's why some of that sort of stuff is it's things that I'm not too comfortable with. If it because it seems to me like Sasha's stuff borders a lot on the mean spiritedness. Now, I do love Impractical Jokers, which is kind of similar to what Sasha does in a way. But the thing about Impractical Jokers is they're not being mean spirited. I mean, it might seem like that because of the things that they challenge each other to say, but it's really more like they're the ones that are being put in the spotlight and being made fun of. They're the brunt of the joke. It's not really the people that have no idea what's happening. They're not really the brunt of the joke. It's really the jokers that are the brunt of the joke. And that's what makes it so funny. It's like Candid Camera, except sort of in reverse, because the joke's not on the poor innocent folks. It's on the guys. If you're going to compare me, oh dear. Okay. Do we have a little bit of debate going on in the comment? You have to be going to compare it to, even though Army of the Dead is not about zombies. Oh, it's not. I thought it was a zombie movie. Snyder use. Really? Oh, you giving away. Oh, okay. The song. Yeah. I get it. I see. Okay. I wonder if he didn't know that. I wonder if he just did it just because of the name. It's possible he didn't. As nada Duma. See, Kindergarten Cop is on my list of Arnold movies to rewatch because it's been a few years since I've seen that, but I'd only seen Sabotage once. So, Kindergarten Cop might be my next one after. I'm just on an Arnold kick, you guys. I think just listening to his book and rewatching his movies is making me so nostalgic for the glory days of like the 80s and 90s when his movies were so good. Okay. Sorry, you guys are having a disagreement here. I do not think the woke agenda is about. Yeah, no, yeah, I guess, yeah, but I don't know what it's going to take for them to kind of sort of snap out of that sort of mentality, and realize that what people really want is a solid story with really interesting characters. They don't want this cardboard cookie cutter type, sort of preachiness agenda type narrative thing that goes along with so many of the stuff that they put out. Give us a really good solid film, and if certain narratives happen to kind of be incorporated into that just through the course of the story, not because you're trying to push that above the story, then just let it flow naturally. But that's not what's seems to be going on, and it's unfortunate. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just clicking on every comment. So this disagreement is being broadcasted. You know what? I want to say I think I've seen Rocky Horror Picture Show, and that the name of it. Maybe I've seen that once. And I guess I'm just not into it. Was so like off the wall and crazy. I just was never interested to rewatch it again. Okay. I don't want to see too many. Okay, hold on. I'm going to try to skip over some of this conversation that they're having back and forth because I don't want to see too many spoilery type things. Yes, I have Gregory. And I want to say that I've done a reaction to one of his things, but let me see because that name certainly sounds familiar. Oh, crap. What's his name again? That name really sounds familiar. I think I. Nope, I'm not seeing anything showing up. Maybe the reason that name is familiar to me is because I've got one of his something of him in my to watch list. That's going to bug me now. Now I feel like I need to just go Google him. Oh. Yes, I recognize his face. Oh, I know. I know who he is. I know who he is. I have not watched any of his stand up, but he was in Promising Young Woman. And if you saw my review, you know how I feel about that film. But I remember he was in there. And I read some of the stuff he said about his role or his part, and I was like, so already kind of get a vibe from him. So I'm not sure what type of comedy he like, what's his style of stand up, because I've never watched it. If you have a specific one to recommend, let me know and I'll put it in my to watch list. I don't know if I've got one already in my to watch list. I'm going to skip past the Army of the Dead stuff. Bo Burnham. Oh, it is? Why is it depressing? Zombies. I'm skipping past zombies. Hold on. Okay, here we go. Also, if no one has seen the Key and... Oh, okay. That's something I needed to... Okay, Key and Peele bit Gremlin sequel. Okay, I'm going to go add that to my to watch list right now, Colin. Key and Peele. Gremlins 2. Okay. Oh, gosh. Gremlins 2 Brainstorm Uncensored. Okay. All right, I'm going to save this to my to watch list. I've seen some of their stuff. Some of their stuff's pretty funny. Bo Burnham is too emotional. It sounds like I made the right choice by skipping. Okay. Is he really? I will accept that you will know because you will be. Oh, no. Will that be really gross? Oh gosh. It depends honestly on the language he's going to use. And like in the case of the Hodge twins, they do stuff like act out what they're talking about. And sometimes it's just a little bit, I love the Hodge twins, but sometimes it's like, you're just crossing a line I just don't feel comfortable putting up on my channel. So I will see. I'd like to see you react to. Okay, let me look that up. Okay, I don't think I've ever heard of him. Ah, it came up. The roast. Okay, I'll put that in my to watch list as well. My poor reaction list is just growing and growing. Bo Burnham is a different type of comedic stand-up. Of course, he's emotional. That's his whole thing. Okay. Specialty is to be a mockery of the society we live. You know, a lot of stand-up comics do that. I think that's kind of, that's why a lot of stand-up comedy is so funny. I get the feeling like that's what George Carlin did a lot of times, was mocking the society that we live in. Some people get offended by a joke, but the rest leave. Yeah, exactly. That's true. The problem nowadays is that sometimes the tiny group of people that get offended, they scream about it so loud that they actually make enough noise that like companies start to listen, big name people start to listen and pay attention. We're giving too much weight to the minority of people that are pissed off about something to the point that it's screwing up a lot of stuff. It's just, I'm not a fan of that. That looks like a 90s rat with a t-shirt over a long sleeve. Oh, okay. These are people talking to each other. Sorry. Oh, yes. Rats do love cheese. It's actually not very good for their little digestive systems because it can give them issues, but they do. Rats love almost anything. There was a cute video I saw of this one rat though. His human kept trying to give him broccoli, put broccoli in his little house, and he would throw it out of the house and put the broccoli back and he'd throw it out of the house. So there's some stuff they don't like. Our rats happen to love everything we offer them. So currently watching in which you mentioned being a horse. So I'm just the original. I haven't seen Martyrs. I've heard about it. And I've heard it's really, really intense, but I haven't seen it yet. I don't even remember what it's about now, but I recognize the title. And I remember hearing that it's pretty crazy, like, I guess, over the top. So, yeah, I'm a horror movie fan, but I certainly haven't seen all the horror movies. So I think that some of the stuff that I had heard about Martyrs, along the lines of how it's just something you probably could only bear to watch once or something like that. So that might have been part of the reason why I kind of stayed away from it. I just haven't checked it out yet, but it's a title I'm familiar with. I just don't know enough about it to comment much beyond that. Oh, jeez. These are, yes, I already gave the rats their medicine. Oh, my popcorn was her main diet? Wow. Jeez. Okay. Guess it worked for her. Go ahead. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I never thought about it that way. But yeah. The most disappointing movie for me recently, which I should have predicted, was, you know what, about Coming to America 2? The trailer for that looked really fun, and I was actually quite excited to watch it. And I was going to rewatch the first one and get ready to watch the second one. But then I started to see the reaction to, and it wasn't just critical reactors. It was not like, the official critics. It was the audience, and they seemed to pretty much overwhelmingly dislike it, and that was quite disappointing. And so that sort of put, I know I try to, go into to some things with an open mind, and there are some things that I've seen that critics and the audience alike don't care for it. That's pretty rare. I usually side with the audience. So when I saw that the audience was just down on this movie, I was like, well, I have a feeling that I'm probably not going to like it either. So I'm going to not rush to see it. I don't know if I will watch it. That's such a shame too. The first movie, I remember enjoying it. It's not necessarily a movie I would go see today, just because my tastes have kind of shifted. I was more apt to go see a comedy type movie back then than I am now. Now I'm that's not something I gravitate to, but I do remember really liking the movie. It was fun at the time. I understand Wesley Snipes was in it and that he was pretty good. So I guess if I watch it, it would be mostly for that. I do like Eddie Murphy too. So I have done some Jordan Peterson reactions, maybe 2 or 3. I do have plenty more in my to watch list. It's just sometimes with Jordan Peterson, some of that material is so, I don't know, it's just so intense and heavy on the brain, and just, I really have to, sometimes I feel like I'm not there enough right now to watch something like this and be able to do it justice. In other words, as far as, commentary or reaction to it. But yeah, I love Jordan Peterson stuff, and I will definitely be watching more. The woke agenda is about dollars, but the ones claiming woke are just being played to think otherwise. The problem with the woke agenda, as far as, things like, let's say, the comics. I was talking about this with my brother a few weeks ago. He's in the comic book industry. And in fact, he just did a live stream the other day that I had no clue he was in on, because he announced it on his Facebook and Twitter, but I'm not always on Facebook and Twitter. So I didn't know, or I would have totally tuned in to support him for a comic book he worked on called Viking Wolf. But he was saying, oh geez, I'm going to paraphrase, but he was talking about how the reason that they are catering so much to that minority of voices that complains about things and raises such a stink is because I think where he was coming from was that they think that not satisfying them is going to somehow hurt them financially. But what they don't realize is, by trying to satisfy them, they're alienating the bulk of their fan base. And so the bulk of their fan base, which makes up it's their core group of supporters, they're losing them because they're catering to other people with other interest in whatever. And it's like seeing their numbers go down. It's like it's not sinking in. And they continue to make the same sort of mistakes with their products. And I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, there was a lot of layoffs at DC because they're having under a lot of financial strain because of what's going on. I don't know what it's going to take for them to snap out of it. I really don't. That's a shame too. And all he does is create a situation where people feel comfortable being their judgmental, prejudiced selves. It's only mean-spirited retroactively with the world watching. I don't know. It's called fake woke. Wokeness. I don't know if it's that. I'm not so sure. I honestly feel like, the whole thing about wokeness, I feel like it's more connected to, I don't know if you've heard it mentioned before, but people talking about Marxism and things like that. And I feel like it's more connected to that type of ideology, sort of like trying to create division and weakness from within by separating people. There's things you can look back on, like some dude from the KGB with a video that he didn't make the video, it was like an interview, and he was talking about that's kind of the whole goal of Marxism when it comes to, I guess, like how they try to conquer other nations. You can't do it militarily. You can do it by trying to divide them from within. And I feel like that whole thing about the wokeness, that's what it's more about. That's really what's going on, as opposed to what we're being told it's really about. That's just the impression I've been getting. Okay, someone there likes Bo Burnham. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I need to know maybe something of his that I should check out. But yeah, I totally didn't know he was a stand-up comic at the time that I saw him in Promising Young Woman. Yeah, Key and Peele is funny. My brothers used to really enjoy their stuff. Is to have any serious drama involved or not. Okay, that's what I thought you meant. I wasn't sure. There should be stickers on movies like Porno, but a new one called "If Easily Offended, Walk Away." Yeah. But many use demonizing the outgroup as a shortcut for gaining social credit. Yeah. Sorry, I'm not having any deep sort of reaction to what you're saying. I just, you guys sometimes express it so much better than I can anyway. Okay, I'm curious now as to what you're talking about here with regard to Bo's latest. I think you're referring to his latest special. So, okay, yeah. Oh yeah, I know. I was gonna say, I couldn't tell if Melody thought you were serious, or I was going to add that Colin was just joking. If you end up reacting, literally pick any of his songs. Okay. Isn't trying to, yeah. It's better to try to do your own thing, right? You don't want to imitate people. And Carlin he can't be imitated. I think it would seem so forced if someone tried to imitate him. Oh, your Chinese sign is rat. I was thinking, you know what? I don't remember what mine is. I'm 99% sure at best because I know I get stuff. Well, Martyrs. Yeah, see, was it as bad as Bone Tomahawk? Lord, that movie, that one scene in that movie, that was a lot. So I'm going to assume that Martyrs might be something along the same lines. If you haven't seen Bone Tomahawk, oh, you're welcome. I try to reply to everybody if I can. Some of the stuff I passed over earlier because they were having a discussion amongst themselves, and I didn't want to see any spoilers about Army of the Dead. If I ever make it to 100 years old, I'm going to make up The Secret to Long's Private. And people will do it. People will try it. That's exactly what will happen. Yeah, it was a fun movie for sure. I remember I saw it on the big screen twice back in the day. And that was back when I didn't go to the big screen very often. Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? And you mentioned being annoyed with yeah, yeah, that's exactly how I feel. That I don't know if I would have felt better about it if I knew that going in. But I went in and I didn't read any reviews or anything like that, so I had no clue what he was going to do, and I was getting really frustrated. So I have a bad taste in my mouth when it comes to that film, and just not. On the other hand, that was such a good movie. Someone asked today on Facebook or Twitter. I think it was Facebook. It was a Facebook group. They asked, what was your favorite war movie? And 1917, like, no question. That movie was amazing. It was so good. I was thoroughly impressed with that film. Hollywood reason franchise trail opposite sequels. Yeah, that's true. Huh? Yeah, it seems like something to actually, yeah. Arnold was talking about a little bit about the thing about sequels. Oh, and I can't remember. He was talking about the sequel to Predator 2. And so like obviously when a first sequel has been a big hit and you have high expectation for the next sequel, but he was saying, I think this was the movie he was talking about. He was saying that the studio didn't want to spend more money for the same people to be involved, like for the same writer or director or something like that. And so they kind of cut corners or whatever, pinched pennies, and got people that were subpar involved. And so the story suffered as a result. But a lot of times, just in general, and it's not even I don't even think it's just franchises. I think it's also just standalone films, maybe, that can be an issue with. That they're more focused on, I don't know, if it's like what, fan service, or I don't know what they're thinking, but story suffers as a result a lot of times. Maybe it is more prevalent with franchises because you have, this all this hype that's built up. So it's hard to keep the story fresh because all they're thinking about, like you said, is the money still coming in. So they fall back on the same formula again and again and again instead of trying something different, something more original, unique, creative. Nothing's really 100% original, but I think you know what I mean. Sorry, I'm not making much sense. It's getting a little bit late here, so fake weight. They hope. Yeah. Division is, I think that's the goal with a lot of this stuff that's going on. And I think it's a huge mistake people are making, kind of falling into that trap. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's been my observation as well. Yeah. We do touch on that a little bit, but I try not to too. I try to keep it sort of entertainment based, even though the other stuff does. Okay. I'm curious now to check out some of his stuff, but I think, you know what, honestly, I think his involvement in Promising Young Woman and some of the stuff he said about it is tainting my thought process about him. So that's probably part of the reason why I hesitate to watch some of his stuff. I don't know. I'll try to get around to it. Oh, jeez. What do you think about the rapid decline in men wanting to be with women because of all the? I think it's an understandable result. I mean, this has been going on for a bit. Certainly, it's starting to be noticed now. I think it's kind of funny that how people are complaining, or a lot of women are complaining about how that men don't want to take that leap. But can you blame them? And they're putting men down because and they'll say things like, well, if you don't misbehave, if you don't do anything wrong, you don't have anything to worry about. But that's absolute bullcrap, because there have been too many men that have been completely destroyed when they did nothing wrong. So I get why. I get the reasons for MGTOW. I really do. I think it's pretty sad that's what it's come to. I'm not a fan of what's been happening, but I understand that that's the result. See, okay, this kind of ties into something that I was watching right before I started the live stream. I was doing a Patrice O'Neill reaction, like one of the animated thing that someone had recommended to me, where he was on Opie and Anthony, and he was talking about his girlfriend and how she was just a miserable person. And I was just commenting on that, about how, miserable people, that a lot of folks don't like to be around miserable people. And so you just kind of remove yourself. And I'm just I'm paraphrasing what I said. But that kind of reminds me of that. What's going on right now is so toxic and so miserable. Can you really blame men in general, because men are the target of a lot of this stuff that's happening? Can you really blame them for wanting to remove themselves from the equation of men and women? I don't blame them. I get it. I just think it's really terrible that that's what it's come to. God's perspective of something more approachable can be seen in one of his Conan's appearances. Yeah, I've never, you know what? It's very possible I've seen him on Conan and just didn't know who in the world he was. That's happened. It's called Bone Tomahawk, and it's got Kurt Russell. I can't remember who else. It's got a couple other people I recognize, but the whole movie, it's not, I don't know if it's classified as a horror type Western, but the premise is that it takes place in the West, like, old time cowboy days. I can't remember what state, but I think Kurt Russell's character is a sheriff, and someone goes missing in his town, and they gather up like this search party or whatever to go find them. And there's this scene that happens when you find out what they're up against, and it's terrible. It's awful. That one movie made me, I don't think I've seen any other film that made me feel as physically sick to my stomach as that movie did. And I've seen a lot of gore in a lot of horror movies, and a lot of times it's so over the top and ridiculous, I just laugh because it's so crazy. And sometimes it's so over the top and ridiculous, I don't have much reaction because it's like, okay, whatever. Oh, and there's another head being lopped off. Okay. But this one, oh, it was rough, and you will know the scene when you get to it. Bone Tomahawk. Jordan Peterson's speech at Freedom of Speech or Political Court is one of the most intense talks I've heard, which I would definitely recommend that. Is that the one where he was with Stephen Fry, and they were debating two other people on the other end of the opinion? And that was the one where that guy was being, if this is the same one, I think this might be the same one. That guy that he was talking with, I don't remember the guy's name. He was an absolute butt. I did not like that guy at all. I just don't. I can't. No, he was just. I felt like he was really full of it, and I felt like he was being, in my opinion, he was being quite racist towards Jordan Peterson. Yes, I have seen the audition. That is gnarly. I actually recently saw that within the past year or two. I'd heard about it for a long time, but had not seen it until when I watched it. And whew, that was rough. What did Oh, I don't know. I don't think I've grown up yet, to be honest. That's very sweet, though. Thank you. I'm still quite immature, I believe. Yeah, marriage. Yeah, I knew what you meant. I saw someone else. I think someone else didn't know that's what you were referring to. But yeah, no, I get it. Yeah. There you go, Simon. Thank you. Lads and lasses were always good, but yes. Someone scared the right. The news. Right. Husk, or do you mean Tusk? I've not heard of Husk, and if that's a thing, I haven't seen it, but I have seen Tusk, and that was off the wall. That was a little bit crazy, wasn't it? It was kind of funny though. It was a little bit comedic in a twisted way. Yes, 1917. I was really impressed with that, and I didn't expect to like it as much as I did. I mean, I figured I would like it, but I think it wasn't until right before I saw it that I knew the technique that they used to make it look like one long shot. So I did know going in that that's what it was. I'm glad I did too, because that made me really appreciate it even more on the first time viewing. Oh, that movie was amazing. I still think it should have won Best Picture. Nobody can change my mind. You can't. Very firm about that. There's enough space in this little box for me to explain. Yeah, it is true. Men just don't want to take the risk. And even, I think probably even not just marriage, but just in long-term sort of connections, they, with women, they just don't, wait. It was made to look like one continuous shot, but it wasn't really one continuous shot. They had these little magic tricks they did to make it look that way, and it was just flawless. I can't tell where the breaks are. I can tell where one break might have been when he dove into the water. That's an obvious place where they would have cut, but all of the other, it was so seamless. It was so good. Describes it about being about pain in general. Okay. Okay. Maybe I'll rethink my hesitance to watch it. See, I have never really been a huge fan of that type of filmmaking, but I don't really hate it or anything. It's not something that is compelling to me. Kind of like, reality type, not like the handheld cam type movies. But that particular one came along, and it was so well done that I loved it. Loved it. I saw it at least twice on the big screen, maybe more. It's really good. One of those men have been single for almost 10 years. They're lady, but honestly, yeah. Maybe not even trying to look for anyone in particular. Maybe trying to find someone is what can make it a little harder to actually encounter the right one, if that makes any sense. Like maybe if you're trying to make it happen, it won't happen so easily. Maybe if you just don't care, you're going to end up, well, I mean, obviously, I guess maybe you don't, but like maybe if you kind of drop that expectation of finding someone, then maybe it will happen. I know that sounds kind of romantic and silly, right? Cliche to say that, but maybe. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I mean, I get it, but I'm sorry. That just makes me feel, kind of like, feels like it'd be kind of lonely, but at the same time, some people, they don't mind that. Some people like to be alone. It doesn't bother them. Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Because they can do it. Because a lot of times, whatever a woman claims about something that was supposedly done is very often immediately believed right away, even if she has no proof. If all she has is just her word, And it doesn't even matter, even if it comes out later, that she was lying or she, just she wasn't being forthcoming. A lot of times the damage has already been done. I mean, just look at Johnny Depp. We now it's been very clearly shown to us that really the abuser in this situation, I mean, they both had their issues, but the one who was being physically abusive was Amber Heard, and she still has her job, and he's still out of, they kicked him out of the Fantastic Beasts movie. And I don't think that he's been brought back in, yet she was never let go, even after it became so clear that she was really the one who was culpable. That really annoys me. I don't plan to see Aquaman. It's got Kurt Russell. Stop it, little girl. Don't do that. Well, I will say that living as a woman today is I think it's easier for women today. I'll just say that much, especially in Western countries, first world countries, whatever. The one you choose to be. I'll be checking. Okay. The original Funny Games. That, you know what? That one was recommended to me on this channel. And I found both the original and the remake was the one with, was that the one with Naomi Watts? And did it have the German guy in it? I can never, Christoph Waltz? Was that him in there with her? Or was it somebody else? But anyway, I think that was the one. So I know the premise, but I haven't seen either one of them yet. And I don't know if I should watch the original first or the remake and then the original. I watched the remake first of Old Boy. And then I watched the original, and I actually like the remake better. So I don't know. Maybe I should watch it in the proper order this time. I'd rather be a moisture forming. Okay. It's my movie of that. Yeah, that's not like get myself to. It's not like I can get myself to see more than 10 new movies in a year anyway. Before the craziness happened, I would go to see generally at least 1 to 2, sometimes 3 movies a month. It all depended on what was coming out. But I've definitely been more active in theaters now since new stuff is coming out. You haven't seen 1917? You should watch that movie. It's so good. Yes, the First World War was. It almost felt like, what was the point? Because nothing was really resolved, and that was actually the reason for World War II was rooted in World War I. Okay. All right. So let's wait till then. Yeah, that's kind of the point I was trying to make. When you're not really actually looking, it just sort of kind of happens. Oh, I know you didn't. I know you didn't. I just kind of, if you're happy and it's all good, that's good. I'm glad that it's, you're happy and satisfied where you are. Okay. I was just kind of remarking that I feel what makes me feel bad is that the environment of today, like what's been going on, has driven so many men away from what they naturally would be wanting, which would be to find a mate, a partner. That's kind of where I was coming from with that. But I know some people are totally fine without any sort of entanglements that way. I get it. This wasn't the one with Mr. Stephen Fry. Okay. Okay. All right. I stand corrected. I'm going to have to go back and find the comment that you made then, because I didn't write it down. I thought I knew exactly what it was, but I didn't. After his refusal of this. Okay. All right. I'll need to have to. Oh my gosh, I'm not making any sense. I need to try to find that. Look up the. Okay. I don't remember if I do or not. I've got so many videos. I've lost track of some of my videos. The time of it is when I wasn't looking and was happy alone. And then it gets ruined. Oh no. Oh. Yeah, right? Exactly. What a shame. Michael Eric Dyson. That's right. His name is Dyson, which is the name of the character in Terminator 2 who helps create Skynet. That's right. That's funny. Yeah. I feel like the latest wave of like anti-male sort of stuff that's been happening is rooted in the Me Too thing that got started. And I could go on about. Hi, how are you doing? I recognize you. I know who you are. The Weinsteins and the Epsteins. Yeah, right. I'm well aware, but when women see a happy man, they just can't seem to resist to it. Oh, yeah. It's almost like, yeah. I don't know why some women react that way. Maybe it makes them feel threatened because they realize that the guy doesn't feel like he needs a woman. I wonder if that's what it is. I've never been some hardcore, but yeah. I like Johnny Depp. I've never been super like Johnny Depp is not Arnold Schwarzenegger to me. I love Arnold Schwarzenegger. His faults, failures, whatever. I love Arnold because he's had such an impact on my life without knowing it. So I'm not into Johnny Depp like that. But yeah, what happened to him was inexcusable. It was so disgusting, and that's shameful. I hate it. I hate it that she seems to be getting away with so much. It's not right. Oh my goodness, you need to watch it. Watch it. It's so good. Yeah, how they did it. I've watched some behind the scenes stuff. It's so fascinating. I find the best way to keep a relationship is just to say this few sweet words to everyone. Simon, you are so funny. That's so funny. Can you do a spontaneous reaction to women know your limits? Let me write this down because some of these things that are being mentioned, I'm not going to remember them. Like I've already forgotten. I'm sorry. I scared you, Luca. I've already forgotten the title of that Jordan Peterson one. You know, it's very possible I already have that in my reaction list or my to watch list because that sounds a little bit familiar. Sorry, I'm just writing stuff. I find it hard to talk and write at the same time. Okay. Yeah, right. Miles Dyson. Exactly. Miles Dyson. No, Tim Roth. Why did I think it was that other guy? Gosh, bless it. Maybe they kind of remind me of each other. Okay. I think seeing the original for yeah, probably so. I agree. The truce in the football match in no man's land. Hold on. Oh. I'm feeling a little bit like I've already lost track of what you're referring to. I'm so sorry. I feel like I need to go back up and see. I'm sorry. I've lost track of what you're talking about. When you say no man's land, one of the first things I think about is that Wonder Woman scene when she crossed no man's land, but I know that's not what you're talking about. It's almost midnight. Time for bed is up. Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's almost 11:30 here, so I probably have been on a little bit longer than I needed to be. But thank you for tuning in and for your input. I appreciate it. Hi, thank you. Trying to get to everybody. Fresh St. Air. You think so? I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if I even know what the hell I'm talking about. It just kind of like a lot of times I just feel like I intuitively sort of know whether something's right or wrong or good or bad. I can't always put it into proper words. Some people talk so much better than me. Freedom of speech or political correctness. Thank you. Okay, that's really long, but it is something that I would probably be interested to check out sometime. It's possible I've got that in my watch list as well. Okay, I've got that written down. Thank you so much. The hallway scene in Oh Boy. Yeah, I do kind of. I have watched the show. I've watched season 1 and 2, and I don't remember if I started season 3 yet. But I recently went back and started to rewatch Luke Cage because I've seen Daredevil 1 and 2. I saw Jessica Jones season 1, and then I decided I wanted to try to follow the chronology. So I know Luke Cage comes in at some particular point, and I'm watching it all out of order. But I had started Luke Cage, and then I stopped, and then I never went back to it. So I love that scene in Daredevil. That was really well done. That just the old boy thing that just kind of reminded me of that. I saw one of the best things ever to do with her. Caesar's Messiah. Oh, religious content. That definitely deserves a warning. Oh my goodness. Religion. It's about as divisive as politics, I swear. Okay. I'm just going to write all these things down because I might never find them if I try to go back through the chat. If anyone wants Jesus Messiah. Okay. All right. Oh, okay. At Christmas, the troops made peace started by the German trenches singing silent. Oh, yeah. I have heard about that. I know what you're talking about there. Football. Oh, okay. Okay. I have seen Jennifer Molesky. She's so much. What's the word? She talks so much better than me. She has a great way of getting her points across. I have seen her, you know, and then what's funny is because I had been watching her stuff for a little while, and I saw someone did a video on her, and they called her a chameleon. They also called somebody else on YouTube, Roma Army. They called her a chameleon. I think it was the same person. I haven't really detected that in Jennifer Molesky, her being a chameleon. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little naive. She seems to be well intentioned, and I think I'm not picking up any deviousness in her as far as her pretending to be something that she's not, or wanting to use men or something. That's the sense I get when I saw the thing about her being called that. And I couldn't tell you now the channel where I saw that on. You were at your That's funny. Ahead for business. Okay. That would crack me up actually if it said that. Third season of Daredevil. Really? Oh, really? Okay. All right. You didn't spoil anything, but now you really Oh, okay, crap. All right, I get it. I think I get it. The Defenders. Okay. Yeah, that's the one where Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Daredevil, and the other guy, Iron Fist guy or something. That's one where they all come together. Haven't seen that. Oh, okay. Definitely some intense material there. Third season, but it's awesome. Okay, it's awesome. Okay, I was a little worried. I thought maybe it was going to be awful, and so I was like, ugh, it was been ruined. But no, okay, that's not. Doesn't sound like that's the case. Okay, so I know what that's about now. Yeah, I get it. Disney has spoiled so much. You know what's weird about Disney? I have this weird, um, not really a love-hate thing with Disney, kind of like a hate thing with Disney, but that I like some of their products. Disney is really annoying to me. I don't like that company. I know a lot of people like them, but I'm not a fan for various reasons. I find them to be really repugnant, and the stuff that they do basically just blatant ripping off of other people's material. And I had heard from someone that worked for Disney that if you work for Disney, even on your downtime or off time, whatever you create belongs to them. And this is coming from someone who she still loves them. She still loves Disney. She kind of hates them too, but she still loves them. I mean, she's always talking about how great they are, and she goes to the theme parks a lot and everything. But I find that pretty repugnant. And also how they suck up to China and the whole thing that went on with when they filmed Mulan over there at that concentration camp in China. And then the crap that they did with the posters to Black Panther and to the character of Finn in the Star Wars movies. I don't know why they. I know why they keep kissing China's butt, but I think it's pretty disgusting. So I'm not a fan. Not a fan. Okay. Well, I remember hearing that it had been canceled, and maybe that was one of the reasons why I wasn't in a rush to watch it. I was kind of disappointed because it seemed like it was a pretty solid show. I guess, is that whole thing done? Like, is that done? Those Marvel shows on Netflix? Is it over? And I wonder if they're going to take them away from Netflix, because that's the only place that I can see it, because I refuse to get Disney Plus. Not going to do it. Yeah. And they're doing a good job of destroying them, aren't they? Like, they're just absolutely, it's so sad. Okay. All right. Well, it's getting late on my end, and I absolutely did not mean to go this long. It's been almost 2 hours. Oh cow. It happens so, it just, like, it goes by so quickly. I started this off, like I said, a little bit tired, and then I kind of woke up, and it's been so much fun talking with you guys. I did not realize that so much time had passed. And then I look at the clock and I see it's 11:30, and I have a video that I would like to edit for tomorrow. And so it takes a little bit to upload on my end. So I probably need to start wrapping this up. I should have started this earlier, but I was doing other stuff. Hope it stays okay. Done for now. Okay. Well, I'm glad I've got more to go. So, right. Oh, I'm glad you were impressed. I'm impressed I was able to as well. I was just trying to skip over stuff where it looked like people might have been, arguing with each other or putting spoilers out. Good night, ladies. And yes. Thank you. Good night. Thank you to everybody. I really appreciated this. This made me feel nice and happy. Now watch me have trouble going to sleep. But no, I can't go to sleep because I have to do some video editing. So I'm going to be up for a while anyway. Looking forward to the, oh yeah, I don't know when that one's going up, but you know me, that was like a 2.5 minute video and I yammered and yammered. I try to talk to everybody that chimes in because, you know, I don't want them to feel like I'm ignoring them, but sometimes some things just do kind of go by before I can get it. Wait. What? A program like a, as a wife dresses sexy cues. What? What? I don't know what I think. I think I'm a little too tired to respond adequately to that. So anyway, okay, yeah. Good night, Simon, Glenn, Colin, everybody else, Jeff, Gavin, everybody. Sorry if I can't remember all your names, but we will be trying to start up a 90s discussion. Arturo and I will be planning one for, I think we're tentatively setting the first discussion for June 14th. So the people that joined us the last time, if you're interested, I'll of course contact you via email. And so it's like a couple weeks away, and that should be fun. I have no idea where it's going to go, but a lot of good 90s films to talk about. So I don't think I have a new Bill Burr yet, but I'm in the mood to get back to Bill Burr. So I think I'm going to probably watch something of his sooner than later. Iron Fist. Yeah, I've heard that about oh wow, all the way from Latvia. Cool. Yeah, I've heard that about Iron Fist. So I'm going in that with low to no expectations. Okay, I really am going to end this so I can get to work, put up something for tomorrow. And again, thank you. And thank you, Melody. That's another name that popped up that I remembered. And I'm terrible at wrapping things up. As you can see, I've tried to do it 3 or 4 times. I'm really going to do it now, you guys. Good night. And thank you to everybody who showed up. I really appreciate it. I'm going to have to do this again. It's fun to kind of just like chat about anything and everything with you guys. So, okay. Adios. Nos vemos. Hasta luego. Bye.